Scott Hanson, NFL Network's NFL Red Zone host, and they will celebrate the 200th show this weekend. Fans can watch all 7 hours of live football and see every touchdown from every game Sunday afternoons throughout the regular season. And Scott joining us after, of course, the busy schedule that he has where he works 1 day a week. And Scott joins us now on the program. Congratulations on approaching 200 episodes of NFL Red Zone.
Dan, I appreciate it. Thank you. I tuned in the last segment.
Uh-oh.
And I heard you guys talking about bladder integrity and that 200 episodes was just a good year for you on SportsCenter. I thought I was late. I thought I missed my slot here. You're playing my song.
All right. How often do you go to the bathroom over a 7-hour period?
0 times. I've taken one bathroom break in the last probably 8+ years. This is season 12 of NFL Red Zone. And I took one bathroom break and I was playing hurt that day. So I had an excuse, but nope, I do not go to the bathroom for all 7 hours.
I would like to see a best bladder competition with you and Andrew Siciliano.
So I think Siciliano told me he takes breaks. I think he does take one break a show, but I'm sure you'll have him on and he can tell you that for sure.
He's
I thought
soft.
You were gonna say,
He's soft.
I thought you were going to say me and Kuiper because Kuiper's obviously famous or infamous for never going to the bathroom during the first round of the NFL draft. So,
but I wonder though, isn't it interesting where people will? I'm going to guess that's one of the top questions that you're asked about your job.
Oh. You hit it 100%. There's not a day that goes by. People want to talk about me, the Iron Bladder. That's my fantasy football. My fantasy team name is the Iron Bladders. More than they want to talk football with me. And I think it's because of this, Dan. It's everybody can relate to it. Tons of people, millions of people watch NFL Red Zone. They sit down with their beverages and their snacks. They're all fired up. We get through the first 2 or 3 hours. And nature calls for everybody. They get up from their couch. They don't want to because we don't do commercials. So they think the next great touchdown could be right around the corner. But they eventually give in, get up, go to the bathroom, come back, and I'm still talking. And they're like, well, when does this guy take a pee? And everyone is fascinated by it. And everyone, Dan, comes up to me and thinks they're the first person that's ever asked me, hey, me and my wife watch the show and we wonder, when do you take a leave? They all think they're the first one. So I try and humor everyone. It's my career has been reduced to the man with the most bladder integrity on national television.
I also wondered about this when you're doing your job, because we would get criticized on SportsCenter because of the highlights we would pick. They thought Keith Olbermann and I picked the highlights. And then they'd get upset or, hey, you never show us in a positive light. You don't show longer highlights with us like you do the Yankees or the Red Sox. What kind of criticism do you get on the Red Zone with highlights, the frequency and the length?
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that because I thought we were the only ones. There's 7 hours, commercial-free football, every touchdown from every game. There's a lot to like, right? And everyone loves it by and large. But if there's a negative to it, it's we have done our jobs so well, I think, that we have spawned a generation of wannabe television executives because everybody thinks they know where we're supposed to be at the moment that we're supposed to be there. And everyone thinks their team is getting slighted. And everyone thinks that, I hate this team or I hate that team or whatever. And I'm like, guys, no one in the country wants to show you more football than the guy you're listening to right now. Trust me on that. And the thing is, they're watching NFL Red Zone. I'm watching 8-9 games at the same time. So they've got to trust us to make the decision. I'm so glad that you said you guys got that grief on SportsCenter because it's the one negative that I hear. And I'm like, you're not going to miss anything. Trust us. You're not going to miss it.
Give me the fan base that makes you a little nervous.
You want me to name names here? Okay. The big ones, right? The Dallas Cowboy fans always think one way or another, and I love the Cowboys like I love all 32 teams. The New England Patriots have gotten a little entitled through the years, I think. The New England Patriots, the fans, they've gotten a little entitled, which is kind of funny because Tom Brady told me a few Super Bowls ago, he told me when he's on the bye or he's playing on Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football or Wednesday afternoon football, he watches NFL Red Zone when he's not playing on Sunday. And he says he loves it. And I'm like, you guys, if it's good enough for Tom, it should be good enough for y'all.
The challenge of this year, given interchangeable lineups, just trying to figure out, you think this game's on a Sunday, now it's on a Monday or Tuesday. How has this year been different for you?
Yeah, well, look, with COVID, we've had to change things like you guys have had to change things, like we've all had to change our lives. So imagine this, Dan, you've lived in TV your whole life. We have a control room to produce NFL Red Zone. And those people sit in there elbow to elbow. We can't do that anymore. We've had to spread out to multiple control rooms throughout the NFL media campus, and people that are normally used to the director and technical director sitting right next to each other, the producer sitting right close there, where they've got that immediate instant communication. They're now in different parts of the building wearing headsets, talking to each other, talking to me. And hopefully the production hasn't dropped off much, but if it hasn't, it's a testimony to our amazing technical crew that is the best in the business for my money.
Do you have an understudy?
People have asked me that because I'm taking a COVID test once a week right now. And if all of a sudden I get put to the shelf, who goes in? They do have someone. We had an earthquake. So we do the show in Los Angeles. We had an earthquake it was the preseason one time. And they're like, well, what if an earthquake hit and it knocked us off? Like, what would happen? And they told me they have someone, I don't even know exactly who, but they have someone at NFL Films in New Jersey that could take over if it was like a Los Angeles problem. And if it was a Scott problem, whatever, I'm on the shelf for some reason, they have someone in Los Angeles they could put in. Hopefully I never find out their identity.
He's Scott Hanson, NFL Network's NFL Red Zone host, and coming up this weekend, the 200th show. You can watch all 7 hours of live football, and that'll be Sunday afternoons throughout the regular season. Who do people say you look like?
Okay, so you guys were just talking about him a second ago. Ryan Tannehill, some people say.
Okay.
Now, I'm way older, and he's way better looking, but some people say Ryan Tannehill.
Okay, I see that.
He has his head shaved a lot, and one time I shaved my head. It was a benefit for pediatric cancer. And when I shaved my head, my girlfriend at the time took a photo of me, and we did a side-by-side with Ryan Tannehill, and it was not too far off.
See,
but he's better looking and much younger.
I see Stifler from American Pie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I could see a little Stifler there.
Okay. You're the first person to ever tell me that. I'll take it. I'll take that as a compliment. They had good numbers on the American Pie series.
They did. Yeah, they did quite well. We've all had those moments. There's nothing higher than the highs that you get in broadcasting. And, I've talked about some of the things I've been able to do in my career. But then the lowest of lows, how that hits you. Like if you had that lowest of lows during a broadcast where you went, oh, my God. And you can't, the camera doesn't blink. Like you're there and you got to do it and you got to keep going. And, you don't get to go, I'm going to go home now. Have you had that moment where you go, what did I just do?
I've had two, and one was this season. I mean, because look, I'm doing 7 hours live television, all ad-libbed, right? And I saturate my brain with stats, facts, figures, storylines, quotes, everything during the week to be as prepared for Sunday as I possibly can. But when we get on live, we're winging it. So I'm dispensing probably thousands, if not tens of thousands of pieces of information per show. I'm going to screw up. I'm a human. I want my free throw percentage to be around 99.8, but I'm going to mess up. The other day, it was 2-3 weeks ago, Ronald Jones from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got a run, and I called him LeGarrette Blount. Now, he's wearing 27. He's grown his hair out. He's playing for the Buccaneers, and my lizard brain somehow flashed back to like 3 years ago. Yeah. And then I'm like, no. I go, no. I'm sorry. That's Leonard Fournette. and then I go like this, and my spotter looks at me like, And I'm like, yeah, it's Rojo. It's the main back who's been running for them for the last basically 2 years. And I just wanted to cringe. I just wanted to die.
But explain your spotter, like the whole setup you have, because, play-by-play guy will have a spotter, but you have how many monitors, and then you have a spotter, a stat guy, probably a director, a producer in your ear?
Yeah. So, with COVID, we've had to pare things down as well. There are only 3 people in the studio with me. There is the camera's robotic, and it's actually in a locked down position. So we don't have a camera operator. There's no one else allowed in. The stage manager comes in when she needs to do her job. But I've got a researcher and a spotter. They both kind of interchange, but they're sitting socially distant apart. But they'll feed me, I'm not keeping tabs on, Patrick Mahomes has 243 yards passing in the first half. They'll feed me something when I need to know it. And they can do it. We have wax boards. They'll write it on a wax board and throw it up there. They'll put something up on their laptop and point to the name if I don't recognize the player who made the play. Or sometimes they'll just mouth it to me. They'll be like, Tyreek Hill. And I'm like, hopefully it's not Tyreek Hill. I recognize him readily, but they'll give me something. Hopefully it doesn't bleed onto my microphone. But I know a bit about football, but I'm not completely on lockdown with every stat, fact, and roster and depth chart, especially in COVID days. So I'm so thankful for those guys, Tim Gillianans and Brian Larrivee, who's Wayne Larrivee's son, the great play-by-play guy for the Green Bay Packers. Those are my right-hand men. Well,
congrats, Scott. Been a great run for you guys. 200th episode coming up this weekend, the NFL Red Zone. And thanks for joining us.
Dan, good to be with you. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys Sunday.
That is Scott Hanson. See, Scott won't see us, but we'll see Scott. Scott, you screwed up.